Yesterday that there's 4 parts to an introduction: the attention getter, the connecting sentence, the thesis, and the forecast. And I also told you that that is a 4-point test question, yes? Or 5-point test question. Yesterday we focused on the attention getter, and today we're going to focus our attention just on the thesis, okay? So turn to the page that says thesis. It should be page 7. All right.
I don't understand. When you talk about like page 7.
Tab 5, page 7.
Where does
Look
it
at
say?
the bottom.
Oh, at the bottom.
There you go. It's all good. I'm glad you asked. Okay. You guys, your thesis is going to show up in pretty much every paper you ever write. Okay, it's not just going to be an oral comm. You're going to be asked to do it in English. You're going to ask to do it in a history paper, a science research paper. These do not go away. Someone who's going to get their master's degree or their doctorate, they actually write a paper on a thesis. Like they research for 2 years to write this thing. So your thesis, and I'll blow this up so you can see it better. Your thesis is also known as your central idea. Okay? Nope, it didn't blow up. Okay, there you go. All right, Jerry, they're going to be able to see that.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome, thank you so much. Okay, so your thesis is known as your central idea. We call it this because everything you do has to go back to the thesis. As you research, as you speak on your topic, if it doesn't support that thesis, it doesn't belong in your speech. So it's the very center, it's the heart of everything you do. Okay? Your thesis statement is, these are the things it is, your thesis statement is a single, complete, and declarative statement.
What's the thesis also now?
Look right on up at the board there. Telling what the speech is about, and I want you also then to add, and what it's going to prove. This is the biggest part of the whole thing. Tells what it's about as well as what it's going to prove. So it's one sentence. And this one sentence has a grading line all its own on every speech you'll give for me from here on out. Okay, it's that important. It has its own set of criteria. All right, so if it is a single sentence, it cannot be what? Oh, use your brains, wake up. Question. Well, a statement, if it is a statement, declarative statement, it can't be a question. If it's a single statement, it can't be more than one sentence. If it's a complete sentence, it cannot be a fragment. And if it's a declarative statement, it ends in a period, right? It is not an exclamatory statement. It is not a question. So it's not a question. It is one single sentence telling what you wish to prove. Okay, I'm going to give you all sorts of rules for the sentence, and then I promise they'll all make sense. The thesis should not say, I believe, or any other I statement. Okay, your thesis should not say I. If I'm giving a persuasive speech and I say, I believe the death penalty is right, then immediately your audience is going to be like, well, I believe it's wrong, so I'm finished listening. You guys since 2nd grade have been working on identifying if a statement is a fact or an opinion, right? Remember having to go through and identify that? We know that if someone stands up and says the death penalty is right or the death penalty is wrong, that that's their opinion. We're aware of that. You've been identifying that since you were little. They're going to spend the rest of the speech proving that opinion to you. So take the I statements out. It makes the conversation very one-sided, that it's just all about what you think, and it weakens your argument because you're immediately just pointing out that it's an opinion. So no I believe or any other I statement. The word I doesn't belong in there. If your speech is persuasive, you're trying to convince people of something, your thesis must take a stand on one side of the issue. So, for example, I'll say to kids, you can't say, I believe the death penalty is right, or I believe the death penalty is wrong. And so they'll change it. And they'll say, some people believe the death penalty is right, or some people believe the death penalty is wrong. And I'll say, well, that's great. That's what some people believe. What do you believe? And they say, well, Miss Broker, you said I couldn't say I. Take that belief statement right on out of there and just take a stand. The death penalty is an effective deterrent to crime, and we should use it. The death penalty is not an effective deterrent to crime, and we should get rid of it. Take a side on one side or another of the issue. Okay? I have to know exactly what it is your speech is trying to prove to me. So it's one sentence. It's a complete sentence. Okay? It's not a question, and it does not say I. So if you come down to the bottom, here's a couple of other things. When you guys gave your speeches about yourselves to me, you had 3 main points. Each symbol was a main point, the 3 things you're going to talk about. Those don't belong in your thesis statement, okay? That's going to be in the sentence I'm going to teach you about tomorrow. You're only going to tell me what you're going to prove, not the things you're going to talk about to prove it. So for a thesis statement, it can't be a question, can't be more than one sentence, can't be a fragment, it cannot say I, it does not list your main points, and if it's persuasive, it has to take a stand. So following these rules, look at the list down below there, and some of them have more than one thing wrong with them. I want you to go through your list, and I want you to match up what rules those thesis statements broke. If we were to pretend that crayons was someone trying to write a thesis statement, what's wrong with it?
Fragment.
It's a fragment, so I would write C in the blank there. Okay? Now you do the rest of them.
Can you use the answer more than once?
Yeah, yep. You'll use the answer more than once, and some of them will have more than one thing wrong. Most important sentences. Some of them have more than one thing wrong, so you need to look. Because I promise you there's a couple that have more than one thing wrong. Double check yourself. Okay, well, what's the first thing you broke? Just walk them off.
Fragment? Or, oh, it can't be a question.
Right, so write that down. And then school uniforms, would that be an informative speech or a persuasive speech?
Yeah, persuasive.
And do you know what side they're on?
No.
So then, so a couple. Okay, let's walk through together here. I believe drag racing should be legalized. Is it a question? Nope. Is it more than one sentence? Is it fragment? Does it say I?
Yes.
Yes. Did it list the main points in there? No. And is it persuasive? Are they trying to convince me of something?
Yes.
Yeah. Do I know what side they're on?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. They believe it should be legalized, right? So it was persuasive and they took a stand, so the only thing that's wrong is that it said I. Okay, so then we get to the next one. Do you think school uniforms are a good idea? Is it a question? Yep, so that's wrong. Is it more than one sentence? Nope. Is it a fragment? Did it say I? Did it list the main points? Does it take a stand? What side of school uniforms are they on? You don't know. No, it says, do you think they're a good idea? Doesn't say school uniforms are a good idea. It asks. So we don't know what side they're on. So this one is A and F. Does everyone see why it's that?
Mm-hmm.
Do you see why it's that, Zane?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Because you just said no to taking a stand.
Yeah.
You got it? Okay. Okay, so what's wrong with the next one?
Can't be made like.
Doesn't take a stand.
Doesn't take a stand. That's the only thing wrong with it. Right? We don't know what side they're on. Do they think it's good or do they think it's bad? They're presenting both sides. I will inform you how hurricanes are formed, where they hit, and when they hit.
Can't say I.
Yep, can't say I, and it listed the main points. How they're formed, where they hit, when they hit. That can't be in there. That will be in the sentence I teach you tomorrow. So that's D and E.
Can't be more than one thing.
On the next one?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So this cannot be more than one sentence. Does it take a stand?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. What side are they on?
That they're dangerous.
That they're bad. That's exactly right. Good. Do you believe global warming is really happening?
Can't be a question.
Can't be a question. And F.
F, yeah.
It didn't take a stand again, right? You're trying to convince me that global warming is or is not happening. I should know what side you're on. Texting while driving. This is a bad habit which can be seen when looking at the causes, effects, and future laws.
More than one sentence.
Yep, can't be more than one sentence. Good.
Listening.
And can't give your main points. Does it take a stand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure does. Tells us this is a bad habit, right? I know they're trying to prove that this is bad for me. Okay. Now it's got one more problem. It's got one more problem. Read it again to yourselves.
Fragment.
There you go. It's a fragment, right? That very first one, texting while driving, that's not a sentence. That's a fragment. So it had 3 things wrong with it that it needed to fix. Okay? Now before I take you to the next part, is there anyone who doesn't understand one of the rules that we just went through? Okay, stay with it. I know this is not the most exciting lesson in the world, but it's an important one.
Can't list the main points, like what's that exactly?
Can't list the main points means like in your thesis you wouldn't be able to list what your 3 symbols were. Okay, so the main things you're going to talk about don't get listed there. You're just telling me what you're going to prove to me. Any other questions? Okay, next page. So let's talk about then the proficiency level of a thesis. Don't do that yet. Hold on. Okay, so the proficiency level of a thesis. Let's understand if I'm grading you on a proficiency level 1, 2, 3, or 4, what exactly does that look like? How can you get to a 4? Because if you get to a 4, your speeches are better. So a level 1, remember, is you should probably ask for some help. But that is not coming out following the rules. It doesn't seem that you understand how to write a thesis very well. So a level 1, if I just wrote Tom Hanks, what rule is that breaking?
Fragment.
It's a fragment. Okay? So tell yourself that. This is a fragment.
This is a fragment.
Write it down, Zane. So then I go, Tom Hanks' Extraordinary Life. What's wrong with that one?
Fragment.
It's still a fragment. I added a 25-cent word in there, but it's still a fragment.
What is a
Fragment is an incomplete sentence.
So
There's no verb. There's no action word.
Wouldn't extraordinary be one?
Extraordinary is a descriptor. It's an adjective. So I don't have, if I put Tom Hanks lived an extraordinary life, there's my action word. He lived. There's my verb.
What?
Okay, so level 1, I've got fragments there, very little indication that I understand what a thesis is. That's a 1. Okay, a level 2 thesis statement. A level 2 thesis statement is a statement, but it's still breaking some rules. So I'm getting closer. I understand that I have to have a sentence, but it breaks a rule. Now this first one's kind of a trick, but it's an important trick. Tom Hanks is interesting. Is it a sentence?
No.
Yes, it is. Tom Hanks is the verb. Tom Hanks is interesting. It is a sentence. So it's not a fragment. Is it a question or a statement?
Statement.
Statement, so I'm okay. Is it a single sentence or more than one? Single, so I'm still okay. Okay, did it list my main points?
Yes.
No.
No, it did not list my main points. So I have a single, complete, declarative statement. Here's its problem. Huh? I can't prove interesting. If a thesis tells what I'm going to prove, what do you show that proves Tom Hanks is interesting? What kind of research does that?
Biography?
You can tell me about his life, but that still doesn't prove that he's interesting. You guys can tell me all day long that
It's
the
an
NFL is
opinion.
interesting, and I'm going to still tell you it's not, because that's a matter of opinion. And I'm going to tell you I think Shakespeare is one of the most interesting human beings ever to live, and some of you are going to agree with me, and some of you are going to say, Broker, you're a crazy person. Okay? You can't prove interest. So that's what's wrong with this one. It follows all the rules, but you can't prove interest. Okay, so then we get down here. Tom Hanks is interesting. He had a big impact on World War II recognition. It's 2 sentences.
2 sentences.
Can I prove that he had an impact on the recognition of World War II veterans? Yes, and for those of you who don't know, after the movie Saving Private Ryan, Tom Hanks actually really made it his life's work to get a World War II memorial, and he does all sorts of things for veterans. What?
He was in that movie?
He was the star of that movie.
I hate that movie. My brother watched that all the time. It's so annoying.
Okay, here we go. So what's wrong with this one is that it is more than 1 sentence. Okay. So then I get to a level 3. Okay? It is proficient. It follows all of the rules. Tom Hanks had a successful career. It's 1 sentence. It's not a question. It's a complete sentence. Doesn't list my main points. Doesn't say I. Can I prove success?
Yeah.
Yes, I can. How do I prove success? What kind of research?
Google.
Not Google. Google's a place that I go to get research. What facts would I take from Google? How much money he made.
Some of his movies that he was in.
Some of his movies. What he has done. What awards he has won.